We go now live to Caracas as President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, is receiving all the different heads of states of governments that have gathered here in that city in Caracas for the 24th Summit of ALBA-TCP Heads of States and Government. We're seeing live images as President Nicolás Maduro welcomes all the different high-level authorities and heads of states and governments that have gathered here in Caracas on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the Bolivarian Alliance of the Peoples of America. We continue to see images in Caracas as President Nicolás Maduro, as we were saying, continues to welcome different authorities that have come here to the venue in Caracas, where the 24th Summit of ALBA-TCP Heads of States and Government is going to start very shortly in just a few minutes. The heads of states will have first a private meeting among themselves. They will discuss different topics, especially also the issues that are going to be proposed that were proposed yesterday, Friday, that the social movements of the alliance also hold their own council meeting, and this is how it works. The people are a strong part of the whole process. It's not a group that is only the ruling class, the ones that have the say, but have a deep touch with the social movements, which are a centerpiece of the ALBA-TCP, and they can bring their concerns, their propositions, and what's going on directly to the authorities, that they can have a rich exchange in order to together find the alternative and the proposals to be able to overcome all different obstacles and challenges. So we are having live images in Caracas as the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, continues to receive all the different authorities that have gathered here for this 24th ALBA-TCP Summit in a special occasion today, as is the 20th anniversary. 20 years ago, December 14th, 2004, is when the then President of Cuba, Fidel Castro, and of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, in a historical hug, as has been described in many occasions, gave way to this paramount integrationist mechanism that has the main objective of bringing prosperity for the whole region and to ensure the true development of the peoples of the region, of its member states, in taking into account the key sector that is the people, the social movement, the core, the grassroots of the citizens of the different nations, to hear what they need, to see what the problems are, and to find ways that together they can move forward. This, we must remember that it came in contrast. It came in contrast to face the free trade agreements that were being promoted back in the days by the United States through the region. And Hugo Chavez pretty much denied this, because he refused to sign these agreements, because he saw in them that it was not in the best interest for the region. It was very detrimental for the development of the nations of the region, and that's when this idea of a new dawn, how he called it back in the days, because ALBA in Spanish means dawn. And this idea came when so we continue watching live images in Caracas as the President of Venezuela continues to receive all the different authorities that have joined here for, as we were saying, this important summit. The Free Trade Area of the Americas is a project that ALBA came in response to, as it was seen as a failure, and that it would not help the nations of the region to be able to develop and prosper, especially in equal conditions for the self-determination sovereignty of the people. Now, over these 2 decades, the alliance, so far over these 2 decades of life, it has promoted regional integration and strengthened ties of friendship and cooperation among its member states. And with this meeting, with this upcoming summit, what the Alliance seeks is to continue consolidating its role as a reference point in Latin America and Caribbean integration. It's also a way, a path to continue reaffirming the commitments to the sustainable developments and solidarity amongst its members. So like we were saying, the progressive social movements, they gathered yesterday, Friday, to see what could be done as they were marking the 20th anniversary of the Bolivarian Alliance of the Peoples of America People's Trade Treaty. During this session, the Council of Social Movements discussed actions to broaden international solidarity with the peoples of Venezuela, Cuba, and Haiti. Now, in this alliance, this is a space where solidarity prevails over profit, as has been one of the core tenets of the alliance, that the idea is not to make the most profit, the most money, but the idea is to be able to develop hand in hand together all the member states of the region, taking advantage of the strength and facing the weakness of the other states. So in a way they can come and join in complementarity so that one is not left behind. So through solidarity, the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of our America has solidified cooperation projects in key areas such as education, health, and the economy, while strengthening commitments to regional integration and multilateralism as a path forward towards the future and as the only real possible way for the region to be truly independent. As was said recently during the meeting of the Council of Social Movement, the Executive Secretary of ALBA-TCP, that the true independence of the countries of the region is when, in the near future, hopefully, he said, the great homeland of Latin American and Caribbean is finally created. So 2 decades after its creation, ALBA-TCP has achieved numerous milestones stemming from solidarity among nations going beyond mere commercial ties. The alliance remains today a transformative project for Latin America and the Caribbean and has set short, medium, and long-term goals for the complete development of its member states and the sustainability in the development of all the nations of the region. Among its most notable initiative is the declaration of Venezuela, Bolivia, and Nicaragua as territories free of illiteracy, a goal achieved through educational programs like the Yes I Can method, which transformed the lives of millions of people by enabling them access to written information. Similarly, the Miracle Mission, a humanitarian project that was born following the idea of commander of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro Ruz, a humanitarian project aimed at providing free surgeries for individuals with various eye conditions. So far today, over 5 million patients have recovered their sight. All these operations being done free of charge, prioritizing, of course, those from low-income backgrounds who lack access to eye doctors. We continue to see live the images in Caracas as President Nicolás Maduro continues to welcome the heads of state of government, in this case Ralph Gonsalves, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as people continue to arrive here at this venue where they will have the meeting. First, they will have a closed-door meeting among themselves. Later on, they will walk the grounds. They will see an exposition about the 20th anniversary, the achievements that have been achieved during these 20 years of ALBA-TCP. and then they will have the photo up for the event, and a few moments later is when they will gather, and each of these authorities that are gathered here, all the heads of states of government and representatives of different nations, including Haiti and Palestine, that even though they are non-member states of the ALBA-TCP, they are long-standing invited guests to this kind of meeting, because also ALBA seeks to find solidarity with these nations, with these peoples, in order to be able to confront them. And Haiti and Palestine are also going to be key on the agenda, how to way to face the crisis, the security crisis that Haiti is experiencing, and of course the condemnation of the Israeli genocide that is happening today as we speak in Gaza and in the West Bank, but mainly in Gaza. Now we are seeing live images again in this venue where the ALBA-TCP Summit is going to be held, as President Nicolás Ortega of Nicaragua just arrived and is being welcomed by President Nicolás Maduro, as all the heads of states and government of the member nations, and in some cases representatives, high-level delegations, have come here to take part in these discussions and continue on the growth of the alliance and strengthening its pillars, since its foundation, the core basis on what they function, to continue ensuring and fighting for the self-determination of the peoples of the region. So those are the live images we are getting from Caracas. President Nicolás Maduro is welcoming all the different types of states of government. We've seen Rafa Gonzalez, Ortega, different prime ministers also from Caribbean islands, Dominica, St. Lucia, have all gathered here. All the member states have come here, and shortly, in just a matter of hours, the meeting is going to be held. We will have, of course, the statements of the different heads of states and government live here in teleSUR, so stay tuned with that first. They will have a closed-door meeting that will last for over an hour, and then they will walk the grounds. They will see the exposition about the 20 years anniversary, showing all the achievements that have been gained during these 2 decades of history of ALBA-TCP. And later on, they will have the photo up, and of course the intervention, the speeches of each of the heads of states and government that are present here, and the representatives not only of the ALBA member states but also of Haiti and Palestine as special guests to this summit. We are going back to Caracas, as President Luis Arce of the plurinational state of Bolivia is also arriving, entering the venue, and is about to be received. We will have very shortly the images of President Nicolás Maduro welcoming the president of the plurinational state. We have Luis Arce is being welcomed by President Nicolás Maduro. And as we were talking, ALBA-TCP in these 20 years of history have many achievements. We're talking about the literacy campaigns that free the regions of Nicaragua, Bolivia, Venezuela of illiteracy. And we were lastly talking about the Miracle mission, which has returned the sight of over 5 million people in the region completely for free. In social inclusion, in another important achievement that ALBA-TCP strives for, the psychosocial genetic clinical study of people with disabilities has identified and assisted over 1 million vulnerable individuals, actively integrating them into society. Training of community doctors at the Latin American School of Medicine, with campuses in Cuba and Venezuela, it reinforces a humanistic and solidarity-driven approach to healthcare, which these are all key aspects of ALBA-TCP, the tenets, the key axis of how it works, always taking into account the people from the ground up. That's also why the people have a very important participation in all these events. As we were saying before getting to this date, this Saturday, that the heads of states and governments are going to meet. Yesterday, Friday, the social movements held their own council of meeting in Caracas, and it's a way that many of our guests that were here from the south and in different spaces of our news multi-platform, they were all referring, they were saying how it's something that in some cases for the people that were newcomers, it's something that they had not seen in other places, the way that this works, that the people have a direct impact in the decision making of the authorities. They have a direct contact with their authorities, and it's not as in the case of one person, one of our guests from India was referring that when you see all these other summits of other international groups, they only listen to the people when there are protests. In this case, there's no need to protest because the space is open for the people to have their opinion, have direct contact, to bring what their concerns and their proposals to find a way together for solutions to the numerous obstacles that the region and the world as a whole faces in a context today that is very complicated, as we are living different crises, not only in the Middle East and in different also aspects, the climate crisis, the financial crisis, different things happening, coming from, especially the recovery of the economy coming from the pandemic, coming from the COVID-19 pandemic, which pretty much harmed very seriously the different economies of the region, as well as and developing countries of island countries. Most of the Caribbean island countries are also here present in this summit. We continue to see President Nicolás Maduro welcoming heads of states and government arriving here for the summit, ahead of the summit. So we are seeing images as the president of Venezuela welcomes Gaston Brown, the prime minister of Antigua and Barbuda, and they're coming here. So as we were saying, the alliance, the Bolivarian Alliance is a space where solidarity is always going to be prevailed because it's at the basement, at the grassroots of what it was created from the beginning by the commander of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro, and the then president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez Rafael Fria. Now, through solidarity, they continue to work and to express the things that we're going to start working together. We were saying here, we were talking about the different achievements that have been gained during the process. We were talking about the Miracle Mission. We were talking about the end of illiteracy in numerous countries. We were talking about a different approach to healthcare through the training of doctors in the different international Latin American schools with campuses in Venezuela and Cuba, and these doctors would then go to treat people in low-income neighborhoods and places where they never had access to a doctor before. But all that is happening today thanks to the humanistic work of ALBA-TCP, the way it was envisioned by Fidel Castro and by Rafael Chavez Fria. As we were saying, today is not only just a regular meeting, because today ALBA-TCP celebrates 2 decades as a pillar of Latin American social movements. 2 decades after its creation, ALBA-TCP has achieved numerous milestones stemming from solidarity among nations and going beyond mere commercial ties. Today, the alliance remains for the region a transformative project for Latin America and the Caribbean, and it has in place short, medium, and long-term goals, for the sustainable development and for the equality of its people, and for the coming on, the strengthening of a united Latin America, as Jorge Arriaza said during his speech in the meeting of Council of Social Movements that was held on Friday. The meeting where he said that the multilateral integration of Latin America is the true way of a true independence, that is the creation of the great homeland, as what is also said in the Charter of Jamaica, which is kind of like the backbone from which this ALBA-TCP was later created, following the ideas of the great liberators of the region, as Simón Bolívar, José Martí, Sucre, all these ideals of creating the great homeland of a united Latin American and Caribbean. So ALBA-TCP is also taking care of the economy, not only, as we were saying, just in a moment, health and all these other aspects, also the economy is a way to tackle the inequalities of the different peoples of the region, as with the creation of the ALBA Bank, El Banco del ALBA, in order to fund projects for the development and for the proposals of new development areas in different regions, so that continue to create wealth and continue to create prosperity in the different countries of the member states, but also always taking into account the social aspect of the people in order not to leave anyone behind. Now, in the field, as we were saying, of international economics, ALBA-TCP has promoted the creation of a space of sovereignty and solidarity among the peoples. Based on the foundation of this institution, which promotes a post-liberal and anti-imperialist approach aimed at strengthening the national sovereignty of its member. The initial alliance between Venezuela and Cuba was later joined by Bolivia 2006, Nicaragua 2007, Dominica 2008, Antigua and Barbuda 2008, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 2009, St. Vincent and St. Kitts and Nevis 2014, and Grenada 2014, and St. Lucia in 2021. These are the 10 member nations that are here gathered today to discuss everything that they're going to be facing in the coming years, alongside two special cases, Haiti and Palestine, which will also have a moment to take the floor and address the meeting.